here. I don't see anything over here. There we go. Supposed to have a guest. He's not here yet. So we'll just see what happens. Got a 15-20 second lag from one thing to the others. Chipper's here. Maybe awful. Hey, well, one-sided chattamajigger if it's just me. That is an unflattering camera, dude. I wanted to do my phone the other way, but it wouldn't let me. We'll take the orientation not allowed. So, switch gear. Great Scott. Hey, Carol. Ain't you supposed to be at work or something, Scott? Mr. Gregory? Or are you out wrangling venomous vipers or something already? No, I volunteered. That way, if she decides to go to bed or whatever, I'm not sitting on the other side of the wall blabbing and blabbing and blabbing and blabbing. I keep looking at this. I'm used to looking at that camera when I do my lives. But I'm reading the chat over here because it's way easier to see this than it is to see that. But you're tough with me. The first time one of them giant turkeys walked out of the bushes, my buddy'd be in the truck. Because I had the name of the bird right there on my tongue. Those things aren't friendly, the way I understand it. I was going to bring some bourbon out here, but I changed my mind. Let me go fix that. I got some tequila right there if you're desperate. Somewhere. Yeah, cassowary. Don't those things stomp people to death? So there you go. You can't believe anything you see on the internet. I'm actually an AI. Right? Had a friend get messed up by ostrich, but those are from Africa. Actually, it was his wife that got messed up. Apparently, they are just like chickens. Just because you're number one on the pecking order doesn't mean they want you to stay number one on the pecking order. They will try to take your spot. So, Anyhow, I have no idea really what we're going to talk about. So, kind of going over the news and stuff, and there's not any new information out there to really talk about. This message held for review. Oh, that's cool. Hey, can one of you, whatever, people with a wrench or whatever, make his comments show to everybody else? Greg's comment about the capillary. Oh no, we got ice everywhere, but that's everybody keeps saying, oh, it's not real snow. No, it's not snow actually. It's a combination of snow, sleet, drizzle, and freezing rain. It's very porous, and if you take a lighter and stick it to anything, it'll turn black before it catches on fire or melts. I'm trying to figure out something that's not going to burst into flames if I do it. It's just the way it works, man. It's the thing just puts off. I mean, the yellow at the top, it puts off black smoke. But yeah, put it in a skillet. Put it in a hot skillet. It turns into water. I guarantee you. Okay, let's see. There, now you got a wrench too, so it shouldn't hold any more of your comments there, boss. You see, they some of those deals are showing are old or whatever. Now the GMO cheese stuff, yeah, that's closer to plastic than cheese. We don't eat that anymore. We don't do the single individually wrapped cheese anymore. Man, it doesn't. And if you when you go back to using the regular cheese, regular American cheese, you realize the flavor you were giving up eating that other crap. It's just so much better. Yeah, this. I still got an inch and a half of ice on this section of my yard right here. Doesn't ever see the sun during the wintertime. Well, it sees a couple hours in the morning. But we had you couldn't get through it to measure it accurately because it was whatever, and it wasn't snow. There's the trick. We had about an inch of snow on top of it all, but it would snow and then it would sleet and then it would freeze and rain all in the same 2 hours. So it would just knock everything down. So we wound up with about, on average, about a 5-inch sheet of ice on everything. It was porous ice. It wasn't solid block, but we got a butt ton of water. Dangerous Freedoms. I think that's Wayne, right? Can't see your little picture, so I don't know. It is. Oh, that's not too bad. It's only 8:16 here. So you're what, 4 hours? A long time no hear from you, Wayne. I haven't been doing lives or anything. Um, I spend most of my time talking to doctors now. So, arguing with them. We're not really arguing with them, but I'm arguing with the next one. They think they narrowed my abdominal discomfort down to something I don't want it to be. So figure a way around that. You want to take my gallbladder out? To take my gallbladder out, I got to say goodbye to everything that tastes good. No more pastries. No more sodas. No more candy. No chocolate. I got to switch to decaf. Um, no fried chicken. No fried fish. No butter. No hamburgers. No cheese. Um, Something like that too. I'll know more. I'll know about that Tuesday. It's supposed to be a pill they can give you that'll dissolve them. Well, sometimes it all depends on how big and how bad they are. Apparently, mine are pretty impressive. Yeah, I mean, why? I was like, just start eating hay or what? I'm not a cow. Well, that's it. I can have lean beef, no butter, no bacon. The eggs have to be poached or boiled. Um, Moderation. See, now I'm gonna take your wrench away. You're gonna start cussing, Scott, Mr. Gregory, person, dude. Moderation. This is America. We don't do moderation. I don't even think that word's in the American dictionary. Something like that. They hadn't said no beef, just like people make hamburgers out of that 90% ground beef. And I'm like, why? Or somebody fed me a hamburger the other day that was ground round. I was just like, blech. Um, I order my steak specifically based on the fat content of the cut of meat. I want about 60-40. 60% meat, 40% fat. And as soon as that fat turns clear, take my stuff off the fire. So that's important. I mean, and now, what's with the thin cut steaks now? That's all you can get at the store. Where he's like freaking taco shell wafer steak things. See, that's what I'm thinking. But what I mean, I got freaking gallbladder stones. That's what they are. Gallstones. That's what they're saying anyway. I don't know. I hadn't actually seen the pictures myself. Thinking about trying the cleanse thing. Yeah, that's. I mean, Why even bother, man? I mean, if it ain't an inch thick, how are you supposed to cook it? Because by the time you get the outside seared, the inside's well done. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I already tried to step up my animal fat intake because it's helping. I think it's helping. My thinker's thinking better. Um, I think some of that probably need to get more exercise. See, that's one thing I can do in moderation is exercise. Because of reasons. I offered to help Rob do his exercise stuff, give him some resistance training, but he didn't want to push me in a wheelchair or something like that. Something. They don't want me to eat white wood. They would just switch to brown rice. I think some of it. Okay, granted, I may not eat enough fiber, so I have switched over. I've actually come to really enjoy salads, which is odd, honestly. Except for the fact that the place that I'm eating the salads is like some of the best food I've ever eaten in my life. There's It's hard not to be fat when there's within 30 minutes of your house. There's three of the most amazing places to eat that you've ever been to in your life. So um, there's that. 4 technically. Shit, 5. Best Mexican food I've ever eaten. And I've eaten that stuff all over the state of Texas. Even tried some in Alabama and once in Georgia, and y'all, y'all hang it up. But I forgot there's another one that's really good too. With I guess technically it's South American food, it's not really Mexican food. So yeah, I like to eat. You know what, Grace? That's dead on. We've There's a bunch of it behind me on the shelf, but we try to actually try to avoid um, the generic vegetables if we can. These Lori and Margaret Holmes are the two brands we try to buy when we can because the ingredients are just the stuff. So we go to the farmer's market when we can, and we try to can our own stuff. So we didn't do much of that this year. Um, excuse me. If I have a coughing fit, y'all just have to bear with me. I will try to step off of or out of the camper. So y'all don't have to watch it. But every year, same thing. Um, they harvest the cotton, they dump the burrs everywhere, and then they shred everything, and then all the cotton that's left in the field grows. It's a mold, and welcome to my number one allergen. I'm actually doing better right now because I went and got an allergy shot. So, anyways, our see, we're trying to grow our own beef. If freaking cows that have anything but keep having cows. It's kind of hard to justify butchering a heifer. Fire cider. If you're talking about apple cider with whiskey and cinnamon in it, you know. Yeah, I got to get back off of these. Managed to quit for about 6 months. Not even 100% sure why. One day I just picked up a cigarette and lit it. Nat Peck cigarettes lasted me about a week. And then here I am. Well, yeah, but um, my cattle are little cattle. Um, the people that want to sell the bulls, and when they do want to sell you a bull, or like you said, well, go ahead and castrate it. They still want you to pay them. Insane. I mean, I'm not going to pay you. Was it $2.85 a pound for a calf? So live weight. Man, I knew that the other day what live weight was on beef right now. If I had 500 or 600 head of cows, they'd be in the bank. I just sell them. The end. Oh, there's the guest. He's wanting to know if it's too late. If you can hear me, the answer is no. I don't know how to answer that without. Uh, hmm, hmm, hmm. Hey, does anybody in here have Zach's phone number? Can you text him for me? Let's see. Does anybody know how to do this? Oh, there we go. Did that work?
Hello.
No, that was me, Greg Scott. I did that. I was messing with the deadgum, trying to get this guy in here. Okay, how come? Oh, I thought he was going to be the wrong way and whatever.
Hold on a second.
That's all right. Apple cider with the mother with. That sounds really weird. Well, I got a Forna bull out there. It fornicates with everything that stands still.
I do not. That is a damn dirty lie, and you can't prove it.
I was talking about my little bull. I got miniature cows, man. You want some?
Oh yeah. How miniature?
The biggest cow I got, she's 2.5, right at 2.5. And she weighs about 500 pounds.
What breed are they?
Zebu.
Oh, they got the Zebus.
Well, she's Zebu. She's 3/4 Zebu and 1/4 miniature Jersey.
How they doing for you?
They eat a lot of hay, and apparently they only know how to make female babies.
Well, that's a good problem to have.
Except my freezer is running out of stuff.
Oh, you need some steers.
And that's what we're trying to figure out how to turn some of my cows into which that bull we had, Knothead, he was a good guy, except for he was raised and we petted him and we played with him, and then he got up to 800 freaking pounds.
Yeah.
And you can't have an 800-pound dog try to get in your lap. It just doesn't work.
No.
Especially not when he's got 9-inch horns sticking out of his head.
Yep.
Ooh, man, sneak in here. Hey, look at her. We have a lady in here, so we got to try to be reasonably tolerant of the fairer sex.
You got a woman on the live stream? How'd you do that?
Carol, she is a very kind, considerate, and loving woman who doesn't judge people for being who they are. And she's just a saint.
I don't think I've had a woman on my channel since Betty Boop wandered away on us.
She started following some other homesteaders and stuff. She's still around, but
Betty's still around.
She I tried to follow them drifting dreamer people, but there's nothing wrong with them. I wish them all the best in the world, but yeah.
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, I couldn't get into them. So, I mean, like I say, they're young people. They're trying to do a homestead, but the guy's got ADHD or something, man. Drives me crazy.
Well, that's no way to run a homestead.
He's not a lady. He's Australian. Not him. I'm talking about Carol. Carol was in here earlier. She's probably working or something. Not just talking.
Been talking long time. I am out of beer.
How much did what cost me, you man? The bottom of my barbecue pit fell out, dude. The wind knocked it over and the rust popped off, and I have holes in my barbecue pit. But that's okay. I bought another piece of pipe.
You want to hear something crazy? We had 6 inches of snow today, and by God, Georgia.
It's 6 inches of snow today?
Yep.
Wow. That's for you.
And there was still ice on the ground from last weekend when we had an ice storm. I'm not okay with this. I live in Georgia for a reason, and that reason is specifically so I don't have to have 2 winter weather events in 1 year.
Now there's that. It hasn't really. Well, we got up to 61 the other day, and then we woke up again this morning to 14 degrees. I was talking to Rob on the phone, texting, and they got down to -9 or something like that.
Oh no, that's some bullshit right there.
Yeah. We hovered at 0 degrees for a couple of nights in a row. Our high one day was 14. And yeah, that sucked.
No, sir. I live in the South for a reason. We've actually got forecast for a little more winter weather in the middle of the week. But I don't know if it'll come to fruition or not. That's a little far out for them to be accurate. But no, sir. No, sir. If I wanted to be cold, I would live up north.
Yeah.
I do not want to be cold. Air Force, I do not live up north. All right, I got a new tripod, and I don't have it figured out yet.
There you go. I got a little Bible lesson for you.
Uh-oh.
My wife discovered a verse, and she is now looking to move somewhere where it rains all the time. Because she said the verse says it is better for a man to live in the desert than with a nagging woman. She says, by God, we're getting out of the desert. So.
Yep. It's also better to live in the corner of the roof than in a house with a nagging woman.
Well, I don't think she's letting me out of the house. Well, she did tonight. So, she got me locked in the pantry.
In the pantry?
Yeah, this is our pantry, actually. It's 10 by 16. 8-foot ceiling.
What got you into the mini cattle?
My wife, one of our family friends has some. He sells them for show animals.
Mm-hmm.
But Liz popped off that she was wanting something like that, and he said, "Well, here you go." And he gave us the little bull, which was a crossbreed, which he couldn't sell. He said, "Oh, that's sweet." So then she brought his sister, and then we found one for sale, and we bought it. And then the bull got our little bitty one. She's the smallest one we own. She may weigh 300 pounds. Maybe. Mm-hmm. And anyways, I think she's pregnant again, but this time it's Zorro, which is a a little bull that's about her size. Anyway, we like them because I can unalive it, winch it up, and butcher it, even in the condition I'm in right now. So, the if I can if I can butcher a buck, I can butcher one of them cows.
Yeah.
Now the bull, we were putting him on a trailer. We were taking him to the sale because he was. Yeah, I have tried. One time I tried to actually butcher a 700-pound heifer that had gotten hurt. Man, that's too much work. That's a 3-man job, dude. Because uh, uh, you can't just flop those around like you want to, like you can a deer or a goat. I butchered he was about 240 pound goat. That was a chore.
Yeah.
I mean, it was doable. It took me like 6 hours to get him cut up.
Mm. Yeah, I
And
did.
that was hide off, hooves off in the freezer. So,
I did a 250-pound hog one time, and I had to have 4 grown men to help me.
the biggest hog I've ever done was a sow. She went 225, and I did it all myself. Did most of it in the pasture. Ain't no reason to haul them guts around. So, now on the hogs and stuff, I don't try to save the hide. I take that off. So,
Mm-hmm.
that difference, if you're gonna what is it called? Scald them and
Scald
scrape them.
them.
It's different.
Yeah. I never understood the point of that. I only tried to do it once, and it didn't work. So we just ended up skinning them.
If you raise a hog, the only reason I know this is because my mom knew how to do it. So anyway, and we had friends that did it, and Mom would go over there and help. We didn't ever actually do it ourselves, but Mom would go over there when it was going on, because that way she could get some of, for helping. She got whatever. You scald them, you scrape them, and then you go ahead and skin them. But then you take the hide that you've got all the hair off of and everything. You chop that stuff up, and that's where your lard comes from.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So that's why you scald them and skin them.
so you can cook all the fat out of the hide.
So I didn't know that.
And there's probably 200-pound hog. There's probably 5 or 8 pounds of lard in that hide, man.
Wow.
Yeah. Lost your audio, I think. Yep, you're frozen. Yeah, actually, cracklins is one of our favorite snacks around here, which used to be. The chicharrones. I mean, I love those. We keep a really. You think you're being funny, Chipper? We keep a really close eyeball on the grandkid because he's already said he's going to learn to ride one. And then he was watching. I was watching reels, and he was looking over my shoulder, and he says, "I want to do that." It was right when I was watching some guy ride a Brahma bull around the parking lot. And to him, that's just the same kind of cow that we have. Yeah, and if you look at them hams with that skin on it, what there's half an inch of hide and then an inch of fat. God, man, those are good hams. Get a dirt bike. Yeah. Hey, says that. Yeah, I'm trying to get my shit cleared out. That's what when that skunk that I was showing. I'm in the process of tearing that building apart and rearranging everything. So, uh, yeah. I think I'd rather see him running sand rails or something, man. I'd really like to see him running Baja, but I've ridden dirt bikes. Not that it's fun, but man, I will tear it up in something with a cage. They wind up upside down too, though. But you're tied inside the cage, so you get some dirt in your mouth, and that's about it. Stiff neck. I've broken hands, broke arms, broke ribs, um, jacked up necks, all that kind of stuff off of motorcycles. When you hit harder than a motorcycle. I don't know if he's gonna come back or not. We'll see. Yeah, old Great Scott lives right there by the Equator. And it's weird. He says northern, and in this country, when you say northern, it's bird winter. And in Australia, it's north is summer, south is winter. It's weird. Excuse me. So, question: I've done a couple of videos, but I hadn't posted them because there's always something wrong with them, and apparently my perfectionism has gotten the better of me the, the worse I get. So anyway, how's the fraud investigations and stuff going on the let us raise your children for you places? Which, I mean, honestly, a homeschool type daycare thing, that was pretty good business. Didn't have to hire nobody. Kids didn't have to show up. It was just really good. Huh. Yeah, we ain't never go to once in Fort Knox. The lizard people done drilled a hole in the bottom of that puppy and took everything out of there. Which, not the lizard people, whoever. I'm not going to get in. There's going to be a lot of small businesses that start to hurt pretty damn fast, though. And when I say small business, I mean anybody with under 60 employees. The big companies will just start laying people off. In the little ones won't have any choice. I know one local one that's already taken a hit, but like the ones that are bank everything on the wind and the solar stuff, that's hurting a couple people around here. The downside to it is I'm actually I'm still behind what's going on. Yeah, it's making it hard on the small guy, and some of the working guys are paying. Well, all of us are. Well, I don't work anymore, but our dollar don't stretch like it used to, and but that's because we were letting everybody else coast. And when you get in a fight, you're going to get some bumps and bruises. And we're actually in a fight for our country right now, for our sovereignty, for our economic independence as a country. And saying I'm okay with it is not the right way to put it. Everybody's always said, well, we could do this and this and this. Oh, really? Then why didn't anybody try that first? You can't just, we can diplomacy it out. Every time we have you let diplomacy try to fix the trade deficits and stuff with other countries, we wind up with a bigger deficit. Yeah, it's more and more the Southern Democrats are waking up to realize that the Democratic Party is not their party anymore. If they'll keep going with these investigations into the big cities voting stuff, they're going to find out that there's not nearly as many registered Democratic voters in this country as they would like to say there are, which will greatly improve the political environment towards industry and employment in this country. I'm all for them taking like New York, the state of New York, and giving the greater Manhattan area some electoral votes, and then giving the rest of the state some electoral votes. Splitting the electoral votes up between rural New York and populated New York. If you already don't have enough jobs to go around, which some of America's problem is the fact that everybody kept telling me, "Oh, you don't want to do the same thing I did for a living. You don't want to. You don't want to work with your hands. You don't want to work with your hands. You don't want to work with your hands. Go to school, become this, 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 and this." And then you wind up with $150,000 worth of debt. You're making $36,000 a year on an entry level job, and if you're lucky and you stick at that job for 10 years, you might make it to $60,000 or $70,000 a year. You still haven't got your student loan paid off. But the guy that went to work part time with his dad and then went and got a little bit of trade school for a piece of paper and then went out and went to work, a year later he's making 75, 80, 110. You know, by the time he's been in the trade for however long he's running a company that's making $2-3 million a year. And he's not getting to keep all that, but he's banking 200 grand. Yeah, don't go to the trades, guys. There's no money in it. They also need to raise it up to where you need to have been in the area you're voting in, that you're trying to affect the vote in. You can't move out into the country in March, April, or May, and then get the vote in November. If you want to vote in that county, you need to have been living in that county for over 18 months. Like, prove that you were living and working. Not you're getting your mail here and driving out once a week to get it. It's going to be really hard to keep and I'm all for business coming into Texas and stuff, but hire Texans. Don't bring your people with you. There's a reason they were living in California and New York and Michigan and stuff to begin with. And it's not the rural people that are moving. It's the people from the cities that wanted everything California was willing to give them. They just don't have to pay for it out of their own pocket, which is the way it works. The more you get in a socialist environment, the more you're expected to pay back. Yeah, it's the way it should work. And I'm not big on the whole idea of only property or business owners voting and stuff. Because that would not be a republic anymore. That would be might as well get a freaking king, man. Go back to lords and ladies and shit. This will make me unpopular. I'm not real big on the thought of voter rights coming just because you served in the military. That shouldn't be, if that shouldn't be a requisite. Knock me out of voting for one thing. And a lot of the guys that I can't stand because of their political beliefs are vets, and it's because they're 100% Democrats, man. It doesn't matter what the Democratic Party says, that's what they want to have happen. There's a lot of good people in California. There's a lot of there are. There's just good people in California. Just same thing over there. You got all the people in the cities that are on government assistance, state assistance, uh, working hand to mouth and stuff. That really they do anything to get ahead. That are running the state. There's got to be some way to fix it to where the cities don't run the state. And there are some of the early guys wrote about it. I don't know. I'm not a historian, and I can't pull it to mind, but they were worried about it all the way back in the 1790s, I believe, and then the 1820s. And then there was a bunch of people that got on board and said, well, no, that's a good thing. We'll just move all the people we want to into the city and get them to vote the way we want. That's one of the problems here. I mean, when I was a young man, I was a big believer in Reaganomics, which that's in a capitalist system, which is what we have. You have to have money to make money. You have to, the people with the money have to be able to invest that money and spend it on making money rather than paying taxes, or they're not going to spend it on making money. They're going to spend it on ways to keep from having to pay taxes. And you wind up with layoffs and closed plants and people going to Mexico and sending everything offshore to get done. There's no reason that the parts for our Fords and Chevrolets should be coming from anywhere else. The Ford Mustang should not be manufactured in France. Should not. And assembled in the United States. It just, what the hell? And most of those parts aren't even coming directly. Air conditioners. It's really hard to find an air conditioner to put in your home that was made in the United States. That's a problem. I wish I hadn't been so about the free trade stuff or whatever when I was younger. I didn't read that all the way through because they should have spent less time trying to figure out how to get out from under the environmental stuff and spent more time trying to make them rewrite the environmental stuff. Like if a company knows that what they're doing is killing the citizens of a town or whatever, and they hide it, and then they get found out about it, it shouldn't be a civil issue. It should be a criminal issue. Like the people with the Forever plastics or whatever, DuPont or whatever. The people that were, all of them, they should have gone to prison. after that was all said and done. Like, not probation, not parole, I mean prison. Um, some stuff, if you work at a place for 40 years and then you retire, you've been retired for 15 years, and then you wind up with cancer, you're 70 something and you've got cancer. Is that really the fault of the place you were working? My brother got cancer at 50 something. That was because he wasn't using his PPEs. But still. Um, that's the other thing of it. Are you following the rules? Are you being macho and going, that's bullshit, that's bullshit? I guess not. It says, I mean, we got um, enough scrap steel up there in Chicago and stuff. I think they could just start scrapping buildings and then use the steel to go ahead and make new buildings. Uh, why do we have to get the little bitty trucks brought in from Japan? Why don't we just make them here? Um, why does a 60-something-year-old guy with no job need a 4-door pickup with a 5.7 Hemi in it? Other than the fact that it's a really nice truck. Well, I don't. I could get by just fine if I had a 4-door cab over with a 1.6 liter 4 banger in it. I couldn't go zoom zoom, but I could go zip zip. Some of it's their own bad fault. Baker's always been better in the U.S. True, but you can't. Here's the trick on that, Wayne. You can't pay somebody $45 or $85 an hour to manufacture something that can be manufactured in another country by somebody who's willing to do it for $10 an hour. And the other side of that is the cost of living in the places where the manufacturing is done is so astronomically high because the rent, the utilities, yada yada yada. It's stupid. I mean, that's what is it? Nissan and Toyota, or their plants are in Texas because the people could afford to live here and work, and they're not going to last much longer because the unions keep bumping the prices up and up and up and up. Back in the late 70s, early 80s, there was a bunch of auto workers that come down here for the oil boom, the second oil boom, second, third, whatever oil boom it was. And they had been getting laid off at the car places, so they come down here for work. And one of them explained to me the way it worked. At the Ford plant, the union had got it to where they had a quota they had to meet for a day's pay. But the quota was, I forget what, anyway, let's just make up some numbers. The quota was 8 pieces. They could easily do 16 pieces in a day. But the way the contract was worded with forward to the union guys, they would do the 16 pieces a day, and then they had to get paid normal for the 8, and then they got time and a half for the second 8. So in an 8-hour day, they could make 8 hours of regular time and 8 hours of overtime. And what it took from, you could buy a brand new decked out Ford 1972 for about $3,200, brand new. And then by 78, that same truck was going to cost you 10, 12. And now that truck costs you 100. I'm actually getting to where I'm siding with the raising the minimum wage thing, not to what they want to raise it to, because that's theft. All the people that have worked their butts off over the past 6 or 8 years to get to $15 an hour, and then they raise the minimum wage to $14 an hour, and now all these people that have worked their butts off to get above minimum wage, or boom, right back to minimum wage. And minimum wage will level out as soon as they raise the minimum wage. If they do a big jump like that, a couple of bucks, I could see. But if it's a big jump, then it's just gonna trickle off, and the cost of living is gonna bump up to a point where the guy that was making $42 an hour is now, his equivalent money is only going to be $28 an hour because of the increase, because of a massive increase in the bottom end. He's still going to be making the same amount of money, but his purchasing value is going to be X number of dollars. Every time you raise the minimum wage, it kicks the purchasing power of the dollar. It just does. I've watched it every time. The first time they raised minimum wage on me, I'd worked my way up to $6.50 an hour. I was $2.20 above minimum wage. And then boom, I wasn't even $1. Kept at it, worked my way up, making $7.35 an hour, $8.25 an hour. Then they raised the minimum wage to $7 and some change. The last paid by the hour job I had, I was making $15, and that was just supposed to be just something to keep me busy. And that's when they started talking about raising the minimum wage to $14. I was like, well, I'll quit first. Union crews can and will do the work if they got the right contract. It's not that they're not capable of. But if there's not a benefit in it, they're not gonna do. You know, if their contract requires them to do 10 pieces a day, they're only going to do 10 pieces a day, even if they could easily do 14. They're not going to do 14 and make the company any money. It's, um, if you're not making your boss money, your boss isn't going to keep working. He's not going to. He can't. He can't. He can't fix the break room. He can't get you a better parking lot. He can't uh, get you better health insurance. He can't. I mean, he can't do any of that stuff if he ain't making any damn money. And you're what he depends on to make the money. When you go to work for somebody, it's your job to make that son of a bitch rich. It's not his job to make you rich. Robots are the other reason that we're having so much trouble. You see the way they, if you can see it all on YouTube if you want to. You can go over there and you can watch how these people, they're buying equipment. They bought equipment at auction at the end of the 80s and been shipping it overseas all the way up to whenever. And the only thing they didn't take was the assembly robots and stuff. Now the machines kick all the pieces out, and all the little tedious things that the little robots would do, they just have human beings sitting there in sandals and whatever those little wraps are called, or what. Some of them actually have pants on, but you got bare-chested men sitting there in flip-flops doing the job of a robot. And he's fine with it because he makes $1.60 a week or a day. And his family's living good. And that's your brake pads, that your brake shoes and stuff that you're buying and putting on your vehicles and stuff, and brake pads and stuff. You can see how they're getting made. They're not getting made some fancy factory somewhere. They're getting made in a forge, a building with a forge, in a couple of 1920s hydraulic presses and stuff. And guys wearing open-toed shoes. No safety glasses. No freaking gloves. Guys making freaking rebar over there. Crapping out rebar, and they're catching this stuff and slinging it through the cutter. Wearing sandals. Yeah. Americans, and one of them, Americans complain when their luxuries are threatened. A lot of these countries, India, Pakistan, uh, Indonesia, lots of other parts of Mexico and stuff, they just figure out another way to make some more money. I have 2 trucks out here in the driveway. I actually own 3 trucks. One of them's busted. Well, 2 of them are busted. One of them I'm gonna get fixed. My little green Nissan, that's all the truck I need. That over the other thing's a luxury. The end. We don't live in a mansion or anything. But we don't leave this house. I mean, I like it. We got 2 baths. We got 3 bedrooms. Got a nice living area. The kitchen's a little dated, but we got nice new appliances, new-ish. I mean, the guy that made those brake shoes that I put on the car the other day, he's probably living in a tin hut. His wife's probably doing laundry down in the river. Just saying. You know, Americans gripe when we can't go out and eat twice a week. They'll run everybody off with all this mess. Lost a couple of you. Another one gone. That's that's it. I mean, it was the not the first. The second job I got in the oil field, I got by walking a mile and a half every damn day for 3 weeks. In my work clothes to be somewhere at 6:30 in the morning with my lunch ready to go. And waiting around until the last truck left with a full crew. Not bitching about it, telling them I'd see you tomorrow. And then one day I was in there, they said, well, the trucks are all full today, but you've been here, blah, 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 and we'll put you in the shop. Put me in the shop. I was in there, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I didn't know nothing about them trucks. I was running a meter and chesting and figuring and finding and fixing lights and brake lines and whatever else, you know. Because if the truck couldn't go out, they couldn't put people on it. Did that for like 3 weeks, and I was down to my last truck, and the guy was like, blah blah blah. We're about out of anything for you to do. Our crews are full up, but go talk to these guys. Because I was willing, and I'm not patting myself on this. I'm just saying this is what it used to take, and this is what people were willing to do back then. They sent me down the road another 2 miles. And boom, I was at work. 7 to 4:30 every day. And then from there, I went to having to be at work at 6:30, driving for an hour and a half, 4 deep. There's 4 of us in the cab of that truck. Single cab, Ford Frogstock. It was a roustabout truck. I only know it was roustabout. And then we'd work till we had to be there at 7. Um, 30. We had to be there at 6, and we had to be there at 7:30. It was only about an hour drive, but to the town. But then we had to go out in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, I didn't get paid for that part. I didn't get paid for the drive too. And then we were supposed to work. We got paid to 5. No, we got paid to 6. But we'd usually roll out at 4:30 and get back at 6. We got paid one way. And man, I was just rolling in dough. I was getting 60 hours a week. That fast. Just boom. Got every other weekend off. And then, yeah, it's just, I mean, used to be hungry. Nobody in this country is hungry anymore. That's like, what was that hurricane that went through Louisiana and stuff, and people were offering these people hot, home-cooked, cafeteria-style food, and they were angry because it wasn't vouchers for Burger King or McDonald's or whatever it was. You know what? Not a lot. I'm proud to say that I got both my boys, well, that I had a hand in raising. They're like that. Even the one that's locked up right now, he's got a job, and when he doesn't go to work, the boss man's like, "Why didn't you come to work?" He said, "Because I got laid out. I had to go do this or that or whatever." He spends more time in trouble with the other workers than he does anything else because he goes in there and he freaking works. Leland got tired of being on disability and is working. That's a whole different story. It's annoying, but it's what he wants to do. I can't fault him for it. basically either had to um, go to work or start voting Democrat. He said he wasn't going to do that. So. What are you going to do? Do you smoke? Sid's dad. My daughter works with the public, which amazes me because, well, no, when she's at work, she has excellent people skills. Um, she's actually doing pretty good. She'll stay on if she'll stay at it the way she's running. She could, if she'll continue to build her brand, she will be sitting pretty by the time she's 40, which is just 10 years. I don't know what he does. He was running a greenhouse or something. He was a teacher. And then him and his husband, um, I believe, opened the greenhouse or started running a greenhouse or a truck farm or something. He went on some kind of sabbatical to rediscover himself, which is cool. I mean, he doesn't talk to me because me and his mom had a disagreement about the whole marriage thing. I believe marriage to be a biblical doctrine and stuff. You know, I was actually on their side. I think they should have passed some kind of legislation which meant that they could enter a contract and then boom, that contract held the children and the whatever. It would be handled just like if they were married, so that two people that got together and spent their whole life building a life together, and then one of them died, that person's family got everything because it's bullshit. There was a lot of things that didn't work that were it wasn't equitable for these people. They were being penalized financially for pursuing happiness, and I didn't agree with that. But you can't be married to somebody that's got the same chromosomes as you. It just doesn't work that way. And that was the only thing. But because I didn't agree with the marriage thing, I'm a homophobe. So there's that. And the other one, the next one down, and he didn't get raised right. He's doing better now, I think. He hasn't talked to me in a year or two. I don't know how many grandkids he gave me. I know one. Actually, I know of two, but I've never met the second one. I think there's actually a third one. That apple didn't fall far from the tree. All right, Chipper. You get a chance, man. You're bored or something, give me a call. We need to catch up on this whole Daredevil grandkid thing you got going on. You know, if I leave my phone turned on all the time, I'm pretty sure. I probably ought to check my phone, see if the damn thing's hot. No, actually not hot. All right, that'll work. If I don't answer, I'll call you back. Because just because I have my phone on doesn't mean they actually have it in my pocket. I get in trouble for that a lot. Don't call me Tuesday because I'll have a camera down my throat. I won't be able to talk. Going in for a scope. They're going to make sure I don't got ulcers. Let's see. Oh, I've been in there for 92 minutes and 27 seconds. We hadn't really talked about anything important either. Not really. Well, we did there at the beginning of it. You know, I did not even know that you had to eat bananas in your rice if you were Somalian until today. I didn't even know that. That sucked at being racist. I'd really like to know where all this tough on Venezuela went too. And I think we need to back Somaliland, and I think we need a base over there too. Be really easy to get a lot of stuff done if we had a base right there. You know, a few of those little planes that go work wonders on them boats out there. Man, I hope I don't do the kidney ones. I got gallstones or whatever. Yeah, y'all want to know the rest? Okay, this is what they said. They said I have sludge and stones. And I think my problem is when that sludge starts coming out. I'm thinking I'm going to try to talk them into letting me take the pills and see if that'll do me any good first. Yeah, but I want a big ass naval air base right there on the Horn of Africa, man. We should be able to, from the land, a freighter or a tanker says, we're being Somalificated from some pirates, and to be zip, no more pirates. The cost of goods would go down a lot. And Saudi Arabia's our friend, right? Isn't it? Can't we just, I mean, if we were there, then we could just fly right over old Saudi Arabia and be right, just about anywhere we need to be. Well, I think that's why there hadn't been any pirate activity for the last few months, is because our man gave his man the authority to do whatever. I think some of them do. I don't think all of them do. If I start to believe that all of them want us struggling and stuff, then there's no reason to keep fighting it. Just figure out some way to play it. And I don't want to be one of the guys playing the system. I've spent my entire adult life deliberately working my ass off not to play the system. It's who I am, that's what I am, that's hopefully that's who I'll die. As me. A free American. Unbeholden to any freaking body. That's how I like it. All right, we'll tell her howdy from Texas. And if you ever decide to eat one of them cassowaries, tell me if it tastes like chicken. I want to eat an emu so bad. I want to know what them little suckers taste like. I tried ostrich and it wasn't bad, but it was mixed with beef. So alligators like one of my favorite. We can't have alligator no more. If it's what they're saying. I don't know, but a lot of people are saying, man, after about 6 months or whatever, you can do whatever you want to. So I don't know. I keep talking about being this free agent and stuff and living the way I want to and stuff. I'm pretty much going to do whatever my wife tells me to do when the doctor gets done. So, well, I'll let you know what the wife says and we'll go from there. Dog wants in. It's cold out. It's cold out here. No. The only reason it's scratching at that door is because it got kicked out of the other door. So, anyways, yeah, it's coming up on 100 minutes. The saint is here. I don't recognize that name. That doesn't mean that I don't know you. It just means I don't recognize it. And I think it's got to the point where it's just going to get worse before it gets better. We've been riding this horse too long. I mean, it's just the way it is, man. Crashes come. We had a really good run from the 50s up to the 70s. And then, you know, it's been up and down ever since, but it always stayed a little bit higher than the low. In a few days when they were actually paying you money to collect your oil. That was pretty weird. Um, that I'd tell you there's something wrong with the math. That's mine's weird. She's all like, she's making me exercise my brain. She doesn't go in. She won't let me hand the forms and stuff. I have to do it myself, and which is good, I guess. Man, it does feel like that sometimes, Wayne. But it's well, and you're a little younger than me too, so yeah. Man, money was so easy to make when I was a kid. All the way up. Um, Man, money was easy to make all the way up till the time I was. In my late 30s. I hate Clinton. I will always hate that man. Because what he didn't do to hurt anybody but us. So, everybody gives him credit for the the wall coming down. That was the years of Reagan and Bush that did that. Ah, seeing it, a lot of that depends because, man, there are millionaires being made in this state every daggum day. It's just, I mean, it's just money boiling up out of the ground here. And it's not, a lot of the guys aren't even getting rich in the oil field, they're getting rich off the oil field. I would give anything to be 20 years younger again because I would just be buying and reworking houses, man. There's probably 10 houses in town that I'd love to own right now, but it wouldn't do me good to own them unless I had the capital to redo them. There's the problem. And the wherewithal, I need the health for it. Yeah, if I can get I want to start. I am going to build knives. I'll never get rich off of it, but if I can make, a few $100s a month cash, I'll be happy. Um, I played around with it enough. I know what I want to build now. I've got a bunch that I've made that'll never see the light of day. But just got to get my building set up where I can get out there and piddle with them. I, believe it or not, was fixing to say something on YouTube that was going to get me in a world of trouble, so never mind. But YouTube, the grease gun, and I'm gonna make me a grease gun. but not a zip grease gun, like a one squirt at a time grease gun. That's what I want mailed. Just cause. So, anyway. Good job, Dangers. Your Wes S knife is not for sale. Which one did you wind up with? Um, I forgot that I actually made some and gave them away. I know the blueprints ain't that complicated. That's the guy with a little bit of skill, a grinder, and a file. And the ability to buy stuff online, ought to be able to get just about everything needed. I see the couple that BA wound up with every so often. I need to call Trey, see how he's doing. I can remember which one he got. He got the little neck knife. I actually want to make butcher knives and then bushcraft knives. I've been playing around trying to find the perfect knife long enough that I know what a bushcraft knife needs to be. And well, for me, in bushcraft's not the right word. That's survival knife. The knife that if you were going to be out there and it was the only tool you were going to have, the one you'd want. I mean, oh, you need a big knife. Well, no, not really. You need a knife that's not going to break if you try to do big knife stuff with it. What's the SOT? It won't be an actual grease gun. It'll be same principle, but not. I'll have to weld mine because I don't have the ability to stamp. It's going to be heavier, but that's just the way it is. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that. I like that little knife. Hope that's not enough skunk. Anyway, I am getting out of here. It is cut that shit out. Jelly. Sit quick. Jelly, you heard him. Leave him alone. My pug just whooped the guardian dog's butt. Oops. Anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. It is time for me to brush my teeth and hit the pillows. good talk to y'all. And I'm gonna try to keep doing this. I enjoy this. I really do. God bless y'all. Y'all stay alive. Do not die. Trying to get Rob to come on here with us. I'd really like to get Rob and the Revolted Man in here and just sit back and let them talk. That's actually that's the part I like. I'd rather be over here talking to the side chat. Maybe. God bless y'all. You're still alive. Do not die. Oh, that's not what I gotta do over here. And I gotta figure out how to shut this thing up. Does anybody know? Oh, there it is. Found it. You're welcome, Wayne. Be good. If you get a chance, call me because I need to ask you about a rifle. It's one I want, but not a specific kind. But it's I want a bolt action 30-30. Just FYI. God bless y'all. Stay alive.